Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. My name's Pete Gilfill, and I'm here with my business partner, Nat. We're all about helping people become business owners or become better business people. Good morning, Nat.
Good morning, Pete.
Woo! Oh, man, it is a crazy Friday, I got to tell you. So, I'm a car enthusiast, right? And I'm a Mustang guy, right? So I got to tell you, I'm test driving a car this weekend.
You are?
I got delivered yesterday a Ford, that new electric Mach-E.
Okay.
And I got the high performance one.
Hey, it's gonna blast your hair off.
Whatever hair I got left, right?
Right.
So I get in there, I get the car last night and I take my son out. My son is very conservative. He does not like fast cars, right? So it has 3 settings, like a kind of like this moderate, kind of medium, and then they have what is called unbridled, right? So I put it into unbridled and I hit the gas, and it was the most incredible driving experience I've ever had in my life. The acceleration just threw you back in the chair. It was like unbelievable. It was very, very cool. I was like, holy cow. I just had no idea the experience it would be like driving that type of car.
Yeah. Is that the 0 to 60 in like 2 or 3 seconds?
Crazy, I think it's like 3 seconds or 2.5 seconds or something like that. I mean, it's just like
it's a rocket.
And it's a rocket, and it's a different type of acceleration, right? Because it's smooth. You don't have that shifting like in my GT Mustang convertible. I mean, it's got a 10 speed in it, so it shifts very quickly and very smoothly.
Right.
But this is a whole different experience. It was unbelievable.
Were you able to burn rubber in that, or how's the traction?
Yeah. Sure, it's not my car yet, so I'm not going to comment on that.
Did you melt the tires?
Oh, we didn't do like a launch mode where I got the tires spinning or anything else like that, but it was unbelievable. So I'm looking forward to driving it for the rest of the weekend.
That's great.
For sure. All right. So today, Nat, what I thought we would do is we always get the question is, what is it about business owners? What traits do they have to be successful? So I thought we'd spend a little time just talking about successful traits of business owners. Sound good?
I love that. Let's do it.
All right. So when we start thinking about business owners, what would be the first characteristic you would think of? It's a good characteristic or a needed characteristic for them to be a successful entrepreneur or business owner?
I'm always kind of like the buck stops here kind of guy. So I like, somebody that's willing to take ownership is always going to be very high on my list.
Yeah. So accountability, right? Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the idea, is that in a world where a lot of people blame others, right? You got to just figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And you and I played sports, right? And accountability is, and I think I've used the story before. I used to wrestle, and I didn't wrestle very well, obviously. But you get out on that mat, and it's you versus the opponent. There's no hiding behind a team or anything else. It's my preparation, my skills against somebody else, and you just got to have that accountability. And I think that's the same thing with the business.
Totally. Yeah, you have to be willing to live or die by your decisions, and take ownership. And if things are going well, then you give other people credit. If it's going bad, you take the blame, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. Okay, excellent. So that's the first one. What would be the next one you think of?
I think, in my experience, to have a successful business, I think ideally, if you want to scale it up and grow it big, you probably need to have really good people skills. So like building a team is kind of what comes to my mind.
Yeah, leadership skills are so important, right? So, and I know you've built multiple businesses, and I know that's one of your strengths is hiring, and most importantly, leading people. So from that standpoint, that's an important thing. And if you miss on that can make or break you.
Yeah, you feel like, you keep on starting over every few months. If you hire a bad employee or the wrong employee and they can't get up to speed or they can't do their job, and you're like dragging them uphill all the time. And then, eventually then you're putting them on a program and then this is your first, warning, second warning, and then you're trying to like manage them out. But it's like, if you can build a good team out of the box, you're going to be miles ahead of everybody else.
Right. And I would think in today's tight labor market, it's even more important, right? Because
Yeah.
people have options now. They can go do other things. And so if you're not leading them, doing the right things to help them develop, help them grow, make a great environment for them, you're going to most likely lose them.
Yeah. I agree. I think people want a good work environment and they want to be appreciated. Appreciation actually goes a really long way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we have accountability. We have people skills. One of the other ones that I think about a little bit is being a problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And as an entrepreneur, again, this idea of coming up and figuring out. So something's happened. What do I do? Instead of just going, oh, well, it's destroyed. Right. And I've used this example before of Tony Robbins. Right. And the idea that during this pandemic, his business is about taking 8,000 people, and you've been to one of those, right? 8,000 people into a large convention center or a auditorium and charge them up and change their lives over a 4-day period of time. And COVID-19 changes that, right? It basically says we're shut down, nobody can gather like that. And here's a guy that his business is shut down globally, right? And he goes, and what's he do? He hacks it. He figures out, comes up with an idea. Let's create a studio, thousands of screens in front of them, thousands in back of them, sets up the capability with Zoom to put 50,000 people into a Zoom session and lead a seminar for 4 days via Zoom. And it was, I did it, I experienced it. So not only did he solve it, he delivered, I think, a great product or service, but he also 5x'd his business. Because he had 5 times as many people there, right? Charged about the same amount of money. So he took a problem, his business is shut down, and he 5x's his business. That's a problem solver.
Yeah. What's that old saying? I think necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I know you've done many things like that. Okay. So that's another one. What about, I always tell people, and you were raised by an entrepreneur, I was raised by an entrepreneur, right? I suspect your dad with his business had a very strong work ethic.
Oh,
fair
yeah.
to say? Yeah. Right. Yeah. And my dad too. Right. So, so do you think, and you grew up in that world and you're an entrepreneur, how important is having a strong work ethic?
Well, I guess from my perspective, I always kind of admit I'm not the smartest guy, but I can pretty much I'll try my best to outwork the other guy. And I think in business, and especially when you're starting, I think you can outwork a lot of other people and be more successful, even in a competitive work environment. Think about like painting or something like that might be perceived as kind of like a commodity, right? But these days, like the bar seems so low. It's like even answering your phone you might be outworking your competitors because your competitors might not even be answering the phone. But work ethic, I think, is, and also I think kind of that pride in ownership, or kind of like if my name's going to be on this, it's going to be perfect. I think that's kind of important too. T's crossed, I's dotted, attention to detail, trying to not let things slip through the cracks. I think in my mind, all that's kind of like under the hard working, because, ironically, this morning I was at the office at 5:30 a.m. and I already put in 3 hours of work, but it was all like busy work. And it was all kind of like behind the scenes work that, probably no one's ever going to know, but it's like, I was just cleaning up some stuff in the CRM, cleaning up some stuff, on financials, those type of things. And if you do that day in, day out, week in, week out, you're going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a bit taking that further, right? The strong work ethic is having a sense of urgency, right? It's like, I always look at it and I tell people that when they invest in a business, you have to have a sense of urgency, like treat every day like it's your last day. Like if you don't get it done today, you got to have that sense of urgency. Do you see that also?
Yeah, so actually that reminds me of a saying that my dad used to like a lot, because, we were in the construction company and, we'd be working, it'd be 5:00 PM, 6:00, 7, and he had this saying, never put off till tomorrow what you can do today. And, if like, I can't tell you how many times, like we'd be breaking down equipment and loading it up, like we'd be doing it late, because don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today. Yeah. And again, it's just kind of like a compound effect. If you do that day in and day out, week after week, it compounds and all it changes your trajectory in life.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. And I grew up working at Ford, and so much of it was driven on a monthly sales closes, right? And every one was the most important close, and we had that
Exactly.
sense, it had that sense of urgency, right? And it was like if there was a sales report of the day after a close, you were in trouble, right? Because
Right.
you gotta have that sense of urgency. Like if it doesn't get done today, I agree, right?
I'm
So
I'm sure your wife knew that she wasn't going to see you like the last couple of days of every month, right?
Well, and I still have that mindset, right? It's just, yeah, I got to get it done today, and I've always kind of been that way. All right.
Yeah.
So when we talk about business owners, right? There's a certain bit about being confident, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're a leader, but you're also in front of your customers, your community. It's about having a set amount of confidence. Do you see that?
When you say that, are you talking kind of confidence with the direction of the company, or confident in like your
I
product or
think
service?
I
Or
think in life, right? It's having
Mhm.
a mindset is that, hey, we're doing this. It's having this mindset is that, hey, I'm confident we're going to be successful. We're going to treat you right. We're going to, whatever it may be. It's just having a presence with I guess it would be just an aura to you that, hey, I'm
Yeah,
confident.
yeah, I see that a lot, and especially with the successful corporate executives. Like I think the that's part of like kind of that dating process as you're learning about the franchise, and the franchise company and executives are learning about you as a potential owner or buyer of a franchise. Like that confidence comes through early, and it just also um, I think it flows into your past success. And if you've been successful at other areas of your life, it makes sense you'll be successful as an entrepreneur or business owner.
Well, and people can feel confidence,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you if
Exactly.
you if you if you don't have confidence, they start worrying a little bit. And I think, go on.
Well, no, a lot of having your own business is sales, right? So whether
Yeah,
you're talking to customers or even, with a tight labor market, you're actually having to somewhat sell, employees or applicants or people that you're trying to hire. And you do need to kind of have that confidence. If they feel like you're desperate, people somehow, they sense all that nonverbal language, and they'll
yeah.
just go somewhere else.
Or you're doing an estimate on somebody's house to do something, and well, I think we might be able to do that.
Exactly.
I think we'll make your roof safe.
Yeah. I don't
Um,
think that I don't think the tree will fall on your house.
it reminds me of that commercial. What is it where they kind of talk about, kind of, sort of thing. All right, got it. What about, in this kind of ties to the confidence, but a self-starter, right? So
Mhm.
when we're in a corporation, we have a boss a lot of times that's pushing us, or we're an employee. But when we are the business owner, we're the one that has to get ourselves up, to your example, at 5:30 in the morning. You got to be a self-starter, I believe.
Yeah. And maybe a lot of that ties into having goals, being goal oriented. I like that there's a saying like don't start your week before you finish it. And the concept behind that is plan out your, the next 7 days before Monday, right? You want to plan it all out in your mind and then make it happen. So then, you're self-start, you have to get up in order to accomplish your goals, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you use a certain kind of process to do that every week in terms of kind of planning? Do you kind of have a, like, Sunday night you plan out your week, or what do you do?
I do journaling, and then because I'm a morning person, I am up like pretty early. And so typically I'll definitely plan my day. I'll write out what my day is going to be early before I start checking emails or anything else. That's just a good pro tip in general, is like, don't get like all bogged down on, the news or emails or things like that until you kind of have straight in your head what you have to do for that day or week.
Yeah, absolutely. What about this idea of entrepreneurs, or business owners always kind of looking forward to, and figuring out how they adapt or change to what's happening? So, for example, COVID-19, we use the example of Tony Robbins kind of overcoming stuff, but it's you have to know where you're going, but more importantly, you got to know how to kind of look at what's going on and adjust your business. You see that a
Yeah.
lot?
Yeah. And I think businesses around here, we're in Chicago, so it's like, kind of gets cold in the winter and everything, but we saw restaurants kind of open up patios or expand their patios, bring in heaters, like, in the COVID example, just to figure out like how they can service customers in a safe environment. And we saw like fitness places doing more online and like streaming.
Yeah.
So I think, again, necessity is the mother of invention. Like, you can either quit, or you get knocked down and brush yourself off and go figure it out. Right.
Yeah, well, I think it's like I think of a blind franchise where they do window treatments, right? And they got kind of locked out. And so what they do, they leverage technology where they did Zoom sessions with people. Okay, show me the window. All right, can you measure that for me? Okay, tell me what you're thinking. And literally leverage technology as they had to adjust their business. And I suspect that technology, even as we start coming out of COVID-19, hopefully, bottom line is that they will probably continue to use that as a part of their business.
Yeah. They became more efficient and were able to get, just think about all the time you save by not having to hop in your car and drive, whether it's 20 minutes each way or 45 minutes each way. It's much more useful, productive use of your time. Yeah,
and I'm sure all business owners don't have all these characteristics, but I think it's important that you got a lot of them, and you as you become a business owner that you have to have these things. So I think of, and again, I'll just list them off real quick because we've covered most of them. You got to be disciplined. You got to be confident. You got to be an open-minded. You got to be self-starter. You got to be competitive, creative, determined, passionate, strong people skills, and certainly a strong work ethic. So those are the things that you and I know are important for business owners, and anybody that's looking to become a business owner should really take inventory and think about those things.
Yeah, life's a lot easier if you can get matched up with a business that kind of like matches up to your strengths and skills and abilities, right?
Yeah. Well, whatever business you have, these characteristics relate, right? So you got to have good people skills, whether it's you got a small business or a large, but you have to have those people skills. So perfect. Well, Nat, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for all your great thoughts today.
All right, I might have to come over and take a ride in the what do they call it, the E-Mach or the Mach-E?
Mach-E. Yeah, and this is the high performance one. So yes, this has got the unbridled mode, which is.
I like that because it kind of like with the horse and the unbridled.
Yeah, no, it's we might have to. I might have to pick you up and go for a little spin.
All right, have a good rest of the day.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Hire Yourself podcast. For more resources, check out our website at hireyourself.com. And remember to subscribe to this podcast to receive each episode. Please leave us a rating, and we'd love to hear your feedback or suggestions for topics.